Don't forget to subscribe.
How YouTube became the most powerful platform in the world. It didn't start in a boardroom. It wasn't crafted in a marketing lab or launched with $1 billion budget. It started the way most revolutions do, quietly. An idea, a moment of frustration, a realization that the world needed a place, to be seen, to be heard, to matter. It was 2005. Karim stood at the edge of digital history, not as a celebrity, not as a tech mogul, but as a young man who noticed something simple. There was no easy way to share videos online. That was the seed. But what grew out of that seed wasn't just a website. It was a new world order. A new way for humanity to express itself, to rise, to create, to connect, to transform ideas into influence and moments into movements. And today, YouTube is not just a platform. It's the most powerful stage the world has ever known. Because the truth is this: the future doesn't belong to the loudest voice in the room. It belongs to the one who builds the room. YouTube didn't dominate because it followed the rules. It became the king because it rewrote them. Now pause. What if your life worked the same way? What if greatness didn't come from what you inherited, but from what you decided to build, out of what frustrated you, out of what was missing? See, most people spend their lives reacting, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to crown them worthy. But YouTube teaches us something else. That impact belongs to those who solve real problems with bold simplicity. And the first problem worth solving is you, your mindset, your discipline, your clarity of purpose. Because without clarity, your energy leaks. And when your energy leaks, your future dies in silence. Karim didn't wait for the world to hand him a throne. He used what he knew: a deep understanding of tech, a hunger for simplicity, and an obsession with solving what no one else wanted to touch. That's how movements begin. That's how legacies are born. And that's the mindset you need to stop waiting for your shot and start building your arena. YouTube exploded, not because it was perfect, but because it worked, because it was fast, because it was easy, because it gave anyone a voice. And in a world that silences far more than it listens, that kind of power is revolutionary. You don't need permission to become powerful. You need precision, you need vision, you need belief, hammered into discipline, forged by clarity. And you need to act ruthlessly, consistently, until your vision breathes. YouTube didn't win because it had the most money. It won because it had the most meaning. And that is what you're missing: meaning. Not more hustle, not more likes, not more noise. Meaning. Purpose is not found scrolling. It's found by doing, by becoming, by building something the world didn't know it needed until you delivered it. YouTube gave the world access. You now have access to the world. So what are you going to do with it? Most people consume their lives, very few create them. Because creating requires clarity. Creating demands discomfort. Creating means taking responsibility for your potential. And that's what changed everything in 2005. Not an algorithm, not a viral video. A decision made by someone who saw what didn't exist and believed it should. YouTube became unstoppable because it removed the gatekeepers. So ask yourself, what gates are you still waiting to pass through? Whose approval are you still chasing? And how long will you let your destiny wait while you hide behind fear disguised as strategy? Do you want comfort or do you want impact? Because you can't have both. YouTube gave every voice a microphone, but it's up to you to speak like it matters. The greats didn't start with perfect plans. They started with imperfect steps. They acted before they felt ready. They risked before they had guarantees. They showed up again and again while everyone else was still waiting for the right moment. History doesn't remember the hesitant. It remembers the bold. The ones who said, "I don't know how yet, but I will figure it out." That's the YouTube story. And that can be your story if you stop watching your life and start publishing it. Because somewhere in a garage or a dorm room or a one-bedroom apartment, someone is building the next world-changing idea right now. Not with millions of dollars, not with unlimited resources, but with something far more dangerous: conviction. The kind of conviction that doesn't sleep, that doesn't flinch, that doesn't care if no one claps because it's too busy building something worth clapping for. YouTube wasn't created to go viral. It was created to solve a problem. And when you become obsessed with solving real problems, you become unstoppable. You transcend competition. Because the world doesn't care about noise. It moves for necessity. Karim didn't wait for perfection. He uploaded a shaky 19-second video at the zoo. That was it. No script, no effects, no brand strategy, just proof. Proof that the future doesn't require polish. It requires courage. So what are you waiting to start because it's not ready? What dream are you holding hostage behind the lie of, I need more time? You don't need more time, you need more truth. The truth that you've been trained to wait, to hesitate, to seek permission from a world that will never give it. But YouTube didn't ask for permission. It created the stage, and then proved the world was hungry for it. That's how everything great works. Every empire begins in obscurity. Every legend is born in silence. Every revolution starts as a whisper until someone decides to speak it out loud. And when that voice is backed by vision, by discipline, by relentless execution, it becomes a frequency that the world cannot ignore. Success isn't a lucky break. It's a decision you repeat until it breaks through. So decide. Decide to go all in. Decide to make your life louder than your excuses. YouTube was built on consistency. One upload, then another, then another. It didn't explode overnight. It grew like all great things grow, through resilience, through adaptation, through showing up when no one's watching. That's what separates creators from consumers. The creator says, let's build. The consumer says, let's wait. The creator says, let's try. The consumer says, what if I fail? And that's the quiet death of a million dreams, waiting for safety in a world built by risk takers. Do you think Carnegie waited until he had a manual on how to build steel empires? Do you think Edison had a guarantee that the 1,000th attempt would give him the light? Do you think Disney knew if the world would ever believe in a mouse? No, they believed first, then they built second, and that is the secret. Success is not a system you follow, it's a fire you light, and it doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't wait for your confidence to catch up. It demands that you move before you're certain, because certainty is earned through action. That's the YouTube mindset. That's the Karim philosophy, reborn in a modern age. Clarity of vision, execution without ego, value over vanity. Solve first, monetize second, build what's missing, then dominate what exists. Because if the platform wasn't there, they would have created it again and again, until it was. That's what belief looks like. It's not a feeling, it's a responsibility. And once you carry belief like that, once you decide that nothing can stop you, not rejection, not doubt, not the silence of starting alone, you become dangerous. Because nothing is more powerful than a person who builds without applause. Remember this, every day someone is becoming a millionaire because they stopped caring about being understood and started focusing on being useful. That's the real currency. The world rewards utility, not popularity, not perfection. Utility. Can you solve a problem? Can you make it simpler, faster, more human? Can you do it without ego, without waiting for someone to tell you it's your turn? Because YouTube didn't wait. It wasn't about likes or views back then. It was about access. It was about impact. It was about unleashing the creativity of the entire planet and letting the people decide what matters. And now, it is the largest stage humanity has ever known. It educates more than universities. It influences more than governments. It entertains more than Hollywood. Why? Because it gave people a mirror. And more importantly, it gave them a microphone. Now you have that same microphone. But the question is, will you use it? Will you speak like it matters? Will you show up like someone whose voice can shake the foundations of their generation? Because someone will, someone always does, and the only difference between the speaker and the spectator is the moment they decided they were done waiting.